welcome to Better Together, a podcast about the Southern Baptist Convention's cooperative program presented by SBC this week. I'm Lawrence Smith. Well, taking the gospel to those who've never heard is what drives Southern Baptists. And in this episode, we talk to the International Mission Board leader who's pushing us forward with global engagement. His name is Jacob Boss. Jacob, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Lawrence.
This is a new role for you. So talk about what that role exactly is. What do you do?
Yeah, so we currently lead 3,040 missionaries all around the world who are engaging lostness as they look out at all of the massive problems we see in the world today. You know, every time you open social media or you watch the news, it can be depressing. Just wars and poverty and brokenness. And we know as Southern Baptists that the gospel is the answer to those problems. And so I have the privilege of helping lead our missionaries as we engage that lostness globally.
Talk about how the cooperative program really fuels that work that you're doing.
Man, we have just done a little bit of research. Stepping into this role, I wanted to know, what has God done? And so we looked at the last 50 years. And as we looked at the last 50 years, what God has done through Southern Baptists around the world, it is amazing. If we look at the global South, so we look at kind of Northern Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, the work that's been done there the last 50 years that the Southern Baptists have had the privilege of catalyzing is actually absolutely incredible. And I remember as a kid being in what used to be RAs as we prayed and asked God to move in the 1040 window. And now as we look up, we see that God has answered our prayers in significant ways. And so with Southern Baptists, by giving, by sending missionaries, both short-term trips, long-term missionaries, and mid-term, we together are engaging the nations. And man, Lawrence, I'm talking to a lot of young people who also want to engage the nations. And while I've had the privilege of being sent through Southern Baptists, there's another generation that's ready to go and impact the nations. And as Southern Baptists, us cooperating together is the critical piece to seeing them being able to go.
Well, you're right to mention what Southern Baptists have done impacting the world for Christ thus far. What still needs to be done, though? Who still has not heard?
Yeah. So there's just about 5 billion people today that currently live in people groups that are less than 2% evangelical.
5 billion.
Yeah, about 5 billion people. And so that means that there's about 5 billion people on earth that have very, very little access to the gospel, if any at all. And so while we've seen unengaged, unreached people groups engage the last 50 years, the reality is there's more lostness today than there's ever been. And it's critical for us as Southern Baptists to continue cooperating together, taking the gospel and the light of Jesus into this dark world.
Well, I know one new strategy the IMB is using to reach those people is the Explorer program.
Yeah.
Talk about what that is and how it works.
Yeah, so we were looking at the people groups of the world, and we realized there were still about 3,020 unengaged, unreached people groups in the world. This means that there are people groups that, as far as we know, they have no access to the gospel. Even if they wanted to access the gospel, they couldn't do it. There's nothing in their language. There's nobody there to tell them the gospel. And we also saw a younger generation of Southern Baptists that wanted to engage the nations. And so we have cast a vision to younger generation Southern Baptists from 18 to 28 that they would come and explore these unengaged, unreached people groups. And man, it's just been amazing. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, and it's been amazing to see what God has done through these explorers.
Talk about I'm curious, how do they operate? Do they literally walk into areas that have not been reached?
Yeah, so we have a list of peoples. A lot of the peoples, we kind of generally know where they're at, but not specifically where they're at. And so they'll go out for 6 weeks at a time, and they'll have a group of 2 to 3 people groups that they're exploring. So they're asking questions. They're trying to find them first. Then they're assessing, is there a church that could reach them? Is there a church in their language? Is there any resources that we could begin to help equip and train so that they can be engaged or not? And so they go out for about 6 weeks at a time, then they come back for 2 weeks to debrief, get some further training, and then they go out to more people groups to discover and explore them.
One of the favorite features of the annual meeting is always the sending ceremony. New missionaries going out into the field. So talk a little about the missionary pipeline, how many are in that pipeline, and how that whole thing works.
Yeah, we currently have just over 1,600 in the pipeline, which is amazing. And we're praising God. The pipeline's grown a lot the last couple of years. So the way that works is any Southern Baptist can come to the IMB through our website, imb.org. They can contact us via our telephone as well. And there's a lot of different pathways that Southern Baptists can engage.
We talked about the work young people are doing in the Explorer program. What about geezers like me? Is there room for older people as well?
There is. We're seeing a bunch of young retired who have some resources and they have some time and they want to engage. And so we do have a pathway called Team Associate, where you can come for a mixture of time. So some like to come for 6 months at a time, then come be with grandkids for 6 months out of the year. Some like to come for 3 years at a time. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. But there is a generation who, has a lot of experience, a lot of life experience, leadership experience, and there is a place for them for sure.
So what's the best way that individual churches can help get the gospel to the nations and the entire nation?
Yeah. So, we've got teams all around the world that have strategies engaging lostness, and cooperative program funds, giving to Lottie Moon helps support those missionaries. But we need prayer. And there is a lot of prayer initiatives that are out there with the IMB. A lot of our teams that have different prayer strategies. Prayer is a critical need that we have. Finances as well. And then just people coming alongside of us, sending short-term teams, coming through midterm. Midterm is from 1 to 2 years in the pipeline.
That's an important point. We think about the cooperative program, we think just funding, but it's also working together and praying together.
Yeah.
You talked about the importance of prayer and what the IMB does, what God is doing through the IMB. Yeah,
prayer is the foundation of the work. Jesus is clear in his word. We have not because we ask not. And we see in Acts chapter 2, the church there was gathered praying together, and then they were sent forth. So prayer is essential to what we're doing.
So given that, how can we as Southern Baptists, how can Southern Baptist churches be praying for missionaries?
Yeah, there are a couple different ways. One would be TCKs, what we call Third Culture Kids. And those are missionary kids all around the world. I've got 4 of them myself. And they are on the front lines with us, and they need prayer. So praying for those TCKs. Just looking at, on our website, we have different people groups that pop up on the prayer section of our website. And just looking at those people groups and interceding on their behalf that the gospel would get to them. And then just praying for our missionaries as they engage cross-culturally, learning language and dealing with culture stress, and that they would have wisdom to understand, how do we get the gospel to these people?
You made an important point. I want to end on this. It's not just, we think of missionaries, we think of individual missionaries, but we're talking, in many cases, entire families that need prayer and need support.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have families, again, serving in some really hard places, places that are really hard to even access, and that desperately need the gospel, but they're hard to live in. And we have families that are willing to sacrifice to be there so that the gospel could get to even those people. And it's because of Southern Baptists that we are able to be there. And the cooperative program has just been such a blessing to us.
Jacob, thank you so much. Very interesting stuff. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time as we explore all the reasons why Southern Baptists are better together through the cooperative program.